Welcome, movie lovers! In today's episode of Brain Feed Lab, we're diving into the worst movies ever made. From baffling plot lines and cringeworthy dialogue to laughable special effects and disastrous performances, these movies have it all. Number 10. The Room, released on September 27, 2003. Despite its cult status for unintentional comedy, The Room is widely regarded as one of the worst films ever made. The plot is often confusing, riddled with unresolved subplots, and features characters who appear and disappear without explanation. Many scenes seem irrelevant to the main storyline. The acting, particularly by Tommy Wiseau, who also directed and produced the film, is frequently criticized for being stiff and unnatural, with awkward and stilted dialogue delivery.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The script is filled with bizarre and unintentionally humorous lines, such as the infamous "Oh hi, Mark" scene, which has become a meme due to its odd delivery and context.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
Technically, the film is flawed, suffering from poor editing, inconsistent lighting, and awkward camera angles, all contributing to its amateurish feel. Many scenes intended to be serious end up being unintentionally hilarious, leading to the film's ironic enjoyment by audiences who appreciate its so bad it's good charm. Number 9. The Battlefield Earth, released on May 12, 2000. Based on L. Ron Hubbard's novel, this sci-fi film starring John Travolta was a box office disaster. Its over-the-top acting, bizarre plot, and excessive use of Dutch angles made it a painful experience for viewers. The screenplay is filled with awkward and unintentionally funny dialogue.
You have been quite a challenge, Rat Brain, and you're going to make a hell of a conversation piece when you're stuffed and hanging on the wall at the Academy.
Leading critics to pan it for being poorly written and hard to follow. John Travolta's portrayal of the villain Turl is often described as exaggerated and hammy, with his performance, along with others, failing to resonate with audiences. The film is notorious for its excessive use of Dutch angles, which many found disorienting and unnecessary. The special effects and production design were also criticized for looking cheap and unconvincing. Battlefield Earth was a box office bomb and received overwhelmingly negative reviews. It holds a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes and won several Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture. The film's association with Scientology, due to its source material and Travolta's involvement, added to the controversy and skepticism surrounding its release. Number 8. The Geely, released on August 1, 2003. Starring Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, this romantic comedy crime film was widely criticized for its awkward dialogue, lack of chemistry between the leads, and overall cringe factor.
If I wasn't, after a first date like this, I find it really hard not to just get under the covers and do you big time right now.
The screenplay is filled with forced and unnatural conversations, making the dialogue feel awkward and cringeworthy.
Geely is so horrible, I had to go clean my palate afterward by watching glitter.
Critics noted that the portrayal of an intellectually disabled character and the romantic subplot involving a lesbian character falling for a man were offensive and poorly handled. Despite the star power of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, their performances were widely panned, with their on-screen chemistry deemed unconvincing. The plot is often described as incoherent and lacking direction, failing to engage the audience and making the film feel long and tedious. Geely was a box office bomb, grossing only $7 million against a $54 million budget. It received overwhelmingly negative reviews and won several Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture. Number 7. The Catwoman, released on July 19, 2004. Halle Berry donned the iconic cat suit, but unfortunately, the film was a critical and commercial disaster. Its convoluted plot and lackluster execution made it a tough watch.
You died, but you were reborn. By accepting all of who you are, you can be free.
The screenplay was criticized for its weak and often cringeworthy dialogue. The plot, involving a cosmetics company and a magical cat, was seen as nonsensical and unengaging. The film's portrayal of Catwoman, played by Halle Berry, deviated significantly from the comic book character, alienating fans who expected a more faithful adaptation. The movie is notorious for its overuse of CGI, which many found poorly executed. The action scenes, in particular, were criticized for looking unrealistic and disjointed. The direction by Pitof and the editing choices were often described as chaotic and confusing. The excessive use of Dutch angles and rapid cuts made the film visually jarring. Catwoman was a box office bomb, grossing only $82 million against a $100 million budget. It received overwhelmingly negative reviews and won several Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Actress, Worst Director, and Worst Screenplay. Number 6. The Alone in the Dark, released January 28, 2005. The film's story, a loose adaptation of the video game Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, was criticized for being incoherent and filled with awkward, unintentionally funny dialogue.
Did you have a nightmare? My mommy says that there's nothing to be afraid of in the dark.
Your mother's wrong, kid. Being afraid of the dark is what keeps most of us alive.
The cast, including Christian Slater, Tara Reid, and Stephen Dorff, delivered widely panned performances, with Tara Reid's portrayal singled out for criticism. The movie is notorious for its poor special effects and overuse of CGI, which many found poorly executed and unconvincing. Directed by Uwe Boll, the film suffered from chaotic direction and confusing editing choices. The excessive use of Dutch angles and rapid cuts made the film visually jarring. Alone in the Dark was a box office bomb, grossing only $12.7 million against a $20 million budget. It holds a 1% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes and won several Golden Raspberry Awards, cementing its reputation as one of the worst films ever made. Number 5. Son of the Mask, released on February 11, 2005. A sequel to Jim Carrey's 1994 hit The Mask, this film suffered greatly from Carrey's absence. Sometimes, it's best to let a successful movie stand on its own without unnecessary follow-ups. The screenplay was criticized for its lack of humor and reliance on cringeworthy jokes, with dialogue that often felt forced and unnatural.
This is a fake! Yes, but it's a good fake. Ow. Sir, that is museum property. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me replace it. What are you doing?
Jamie Kennedy's performance as the lead was widely panned, especially when compared to Jim Carrey's iconic role in the original. The rest of the cast, including Alan Cumming and Bob Hoskins, also failed to impress. The film is notorious for its excessive and poorly executed CGI, which many found distracting and unconvincing. The visual effects were often described as cartoonish and unappealing. The direction and editing choices were often described as chaotic and confusing. The film's attempt to mimic a live-action cartoon resulted in a visually jarring experience. Son of the Mask was a box office bomb and received overwhelmingly negative reviews. It holds a very low rating on IMDb and won several Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Director, and Worst Actor. Number 4. The Fantastic Four, released on August 6, 2015. Superhero movies are usually a safe bet, but this particular adaptation fell flat. Both critics and audiences found it difficult to endure, and its 9% Rotten Tomatoes score speaks volumes. The screenplay was criticized for its lack of depth and engaging dialogue, with many finding the attempts at humor forced and unfunny.
This is Ben. What's up? You his lucky charm?
You guys sure you're in the best shape to be doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess I should come up with something better than one small step for man?
Strap in and get comfy, kids. We're about to make history.
Yeah, or die. Either or.
The performances, particularly by Jessica Alba, Ioan Gruffudd, and Julian McMahon, were seen as lackluster. Critics felt that the actors failed to bring their characters to life in a compelling way. The plot was described as uninspired and predictable, struggling to capture the excitement and complexity of the comic book source material. The movie's tone was often seen as too goofy and lighthearted, clashing with the more serious moments. This inconsistency made it difficult for audiences to take the film seriously. While the special effects were decent for the time, they were not enough to save the film from its other shortcomings. The direction and editing were also criticized for being unremarkable. Despite being a moderate financial success, it was not well received by fans or critics. Number 3. The Snowman, released on October 13, 2017. With Michael Fassbender in the lead role, this psychological thriller had potential. However, due to a rush production schedule and budget issues, about 10 to 15% of the script wasn't even shot, resulting in a confusing and disjointed plot.
Mom, come on, we gotta get out of here. Open the door. Mom, come on. Open the door. Mom. Mom. No!
The story, which follows Detective Harry Hole investigating a series of murders, was criticized for being poorly structured and confusing. Many important parts of the story were reportedly not filmed, leading to an incomplete narrative. Based on Joe Nesbo's best-selling novel, the film failed to capture the suspense and complexity of the source material, disappointing fans of the book. Despite a star-studded cast including Michael Fassbender, Rebecca Ferguson, and J.K. Simmons, the performances were widely panned, with critics feeling the actors were unable to bring depth to their characters. The movie suffered from poor editing and direction, with excessive use of Dutch angles and rapid cuts, making it visually jarring. Additionally, the special effects were criticized for being unconvincing. The Snowman was a box office bomb, grossing only $43.1 million against a $35 million budget. It holds a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 6% approval rating from critics. Number 2. The Collateral Beauty, released on December 30th, 2016. Despite its star-studded cast, including Will Smith, Edward Norton, and Kate Winslet, this film struggled with forced emotional manipulation and poor writing.
Trust you. Trust you?
Yes.
I did trust you. And you betrayed me. I saw you every day in her eyes. And I heard you in her voice when she laughed. And I felt you inside of me when she called me daddy. And you betrayed me.
It left viewers feeling like their tears were being jerked out of them rather than genuinely moved. The story, which follows a grieving man who writes letters to abstract concepts like love, time, and death, was criticized for being confusing and poorly structured. Many viewers found the plot to be disjointed and lacking coherence. The film was seen as manipulative in its handling of grief and depression, offering platitudes instead of genuine emotional depth. Critics felt that it trivialized serious themes, making it feel insincere and disingenuous. Despite the talented cast, the performances were widely panned, with critics feeling the actors were unable to bring depth to their characters, resulting in unconvincing portrayals. The direction by David Frankel and the editing choices were often described as chaotic and confusing. The film's attempt to tackle profound themes was seen as poorly executed. Collateral Beauty was a box office disappointment and received overwhelmingly negative reviews. It holds a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, reflecting its poor reception by both critics and audiences. Number 1. The Emoji Movie, released July 28, 2017. An animated comedy that missed the mark on humor and relied heavily on cringeworthy product placements. If there were an unwatchable emoji, this film would probably be it. The plot, which revolves around emojis in a smartphone, was criticized for being shallow and uninspired. Many found the humor forced and unfunny, failing to engage both children and adults. The film was heavily criticized for its blatant product placements.
Help me! Help, I'm stuck!
Sweet motherboard!
Where am I?
Candy Crush.
Making it feel more like a commercial for smartphone apps than a genuine movie. The Emoji Movie received overwhelmingly negative reviews from critics. It holds a very low rating on Rotten Tomatoes and was described as lacking wit, style, and basic entertainment value. The movie swept the board at the Golden Raspberry Awards, winning Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Screen Combo, further cementing its reputation as one of the worst films of the year. Despite being an animated film, the visual effects and animation were not enough to save it from its other shortcomings. The animation was often described as uninspired and unappealing. And there you have it, folks. From incoherent plots and cringeworthy dialogue to lackluster performances and baffling directorial choices, these films have earned their spots in the Hall of Shame. But remember, even the worst movies can teach us something, whether it's how not to make a film or simply providing a good laugh at their expense. After all, sometimes it's the flaws that make these movies unforgettable. Did we miss any of your favorites? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon for more entertaining content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.